place where you belong. Give you strength to carry on. Open your heart, set your mind at ease. Live your life and you'll be free. We're gonna rise, rise, rise. Keep on rising, rise, rise, rise. Keep on rising,
Good evening, YouTube, and welcome to the Toon Review YouTube channel, where tonight it is, of course, Newcastle United versus Aston Villa, the match preview. The season kicks off at last. After all the pre-season rigmaroles, late night matches, through the night matches, we have come to the big kickoff in the Premier League, and it is extremely exciting. However, we now have to predict what Newcastle United's first 11 is going to be at some point during this show. Well, you know, I mean, I haven't got a clue. I still do not have a Scooby-Doo. You know, we'll have to see what you guys think in the chat as well. But usual rules, guys, if you do enjoy tonight's show, please do give it the thumbs up and keep us up there in the YouTube search results. And of course, if you're new to the channel and like what you see, please do hit the subscribe button, completely free to do so. And of course, the notification bell, which will let you know when we go live or we upload any videos. You can donate to the channel if you do so wish tonight by hitting the $ at the bottom of the live comments, and that will take you through to a payment method, and you will get your comment read straight out on the show. So, gentlemen, have we come any closer to deciding who Newcastle's first 11 is going to be tomorrow?
Slightly.
In our heads, I guess. We don't know for sure, obviously. We can never predict what Eddie Howe's going to do. Can I just say first, I've got a couple of fake tears. One for Tottenham.
Yeah.
Bye-bye, Harry.
Yeah.
One for Liverpool. How high is that ceiling? Not high enough. Don't want to go to you, mate.
I mean, to be honest, that was absolutely hilarious today with Caicedo and Liverpool, and you know the fact that bell end, of course, our mate Jurgen Klopp, who decided to talk about many times how Liverpool would never spend 100 million on a player, blah 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 blah. Yet they go and put a bid in of 111 for Caicedo, and then he turns around and says, "I don't fancy Liverpool. I want to go to Chelsea." So very interesting. Cruz Scott, who's been a member for once, says, "How can I gift others membership to the channel?" I don't actually know. I know that a couple of guys do. You know, Keith especially. He does Keith.
Yeah, Keith Dyche is a man.
I think you go to the membership and then it gives you the option to gift. I think I don't know.
Yeah, I think there is.
So have a look at that, or someone might be able to help you in the chat. But I don't have a clue actually. But thank you anyway for even thinking of doing that. Very kind. Julie J says Pope in goal is pretty much a certainty. I think we can go with that. Larry's gone Burn, Botman, Share, and Trippier. Good news today, Alex, is that obviously, you know, despite him not being photoed in any training sessions, Fabian Scher's been training since Tuesday and is fit and ready to go.
Yeah, I mean there are. He is in photos. He's just at the very back of them, not in focus. Some people have managed to point that out. I think they were just being careful, just to make it harder for Emery and for the fixture for them to plan against who's going to be playing, because the way we play with and without Fabian Scher completely changes. It's no secret that Fabian Scher's got a wicked long ball on him, and he was responsible for quite a lot of dangerous moves last season.
Yeah.
So Lascelles won't quite offer that quality. if it is indeed Lascelles that replaces him, of course, we've got some interesting centre halves. Even Alex Murphy impressed in pre-season. But yeah, a little bit of a shame because as we're talking about injuries, I guess Joe Willock, Eddie Howe mentioned today. Yeah, I am going to cough during the stream. I do apologise. I'm just going to apologise now for it and never again. So yeah, Willock, he says it was not re-injured, but he felt something. So whatever the something is, I hope it was a very small something.
Well, yeah, I mean, look, when you have those kind of injuries, hamstring injuries like that, when you do come back, you do feel a little bit sort of apprehensive about it. You do feel like it's very stiff, and you don't have much. Well, you don't have a lot of trust in it. When you're trying to push yourself, and then you feel something, and you think, "Is that really sorted? Is it not?" But the beauty of it is, we have got the time here to let him recover well. By the way, Keith Dice has just gifted 5 memberships, and those memberships have gone to Lee, Kevin Riddock, Matty Rutter, Davey Pat, and Andy Snook. So they've all been given 5 memberships from Keith Dice. So thank you very much, Keith. So it's good that we can give him that time, Billy, just to get himself 100%. We don't have to rush him back because we've obviously the squad size is bigger now.
100%. Yeah. It will be a miss. We'll play a different way. Won't be as dynamic in midfield, but we can play in a more cultured manner now. So yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing how we line up. I think it's fairly obvious how we will line up in the middle of the park, if I'm perfectly honest. Although there is a little bit of doubt there, I guess. But as I say, Eddie Howe isn't the most predictable of the managers. But yeah, I'm looking forward to see how we play tomorrow. I think it's going to be a good game of football. I don't think Villa are any kind of slouches by any shadow of doubt. They're a good side. Yeah, they are. But they've got to be good to beat us. They've got to be really good to beat us.
Well, it should be a very good start this season. Two really good sides. I'm interested to see how Villa approach this game, how Emery approaches the game. Knowing how we press, because we'll be up for it from the word go. The stadium will be absolutely rocking tomorrow. There's no doubt about that. So I can't wait to see how Villa respond and see if they are actually good enough to hold us back, because I mean we trounced them last season at St James's Park, and I'm hopeful we'll do it again. But they, like you say, they've made some good additions in the summer. One thing away from the Newcastle game though, Alex, today is that it looks like Harry Kane is going to Bayern Munich.
Yeah. I'm not really bothered. I think it's a good move. I think it's interesting for the Bundesliga. It's interesting for Bayern Munich. I think it's great for Spurs. I think it allows them to move away, rebuild for a system instead of just for that guy up front. It's great for Shearer's record. What is it not good for? I mean, I think Southgate's still going to pick him for the next 13 years. So, yeah, which is a shame. I feel like we could do with a nice little reset at England as well. It's time to move Maguire and Kane out of the England team, reset there, try to play a bit more of a possession-based attacking system. Now we've got, the likes of Rice and Bellingham in midfield. We've got Stones, who's a Champions League winning centre-half. We can sort it out now. I'm not particularly bothered. I think it's win-win for most of us, really. And then it means he's not going to go to Man United and make them stronger against us next season. So there's not really any losers for us, is there?
It's a good point. Jason's just said, breaking news, Harry Kane has failed his medical to Bayern Munich due to his trophy allergy. Chris, thank you very much for your $9.99 super chat. He says, hi guys, how do I become a member? I'm spending money every month on Amazon Prime, Netflix, Disney, etc. Hardly watch any of it, yet I watch every single show on here. Well, basically, Chris, all you need to do is hit the join button. If you are on iOS, it won't show up the join button for some reason. So if you pop across to Instagram and look for the Toon Review, and then in the bio of the Toon Review, you'll see a link. Click that link to YouTube. That'll take you to a desktop version of YouTube on your phone, and you can hit the join button there. So it's a bit of a pain in the ass.
Mention some breaking news here that Sanjay has just alerted us to. So Maxi's new team are playing at the moment. Subscription only, apparently. I didn't realize that. He's got Maxi on the back. Obviously, we've given him that name, so he's got Maxi on the back, and he's number 97. So that's quite It's quite interesting. Instead of Saint Maximin, he's just gone with a Maxi.
Wow, interesting. Vincent says, evening all, we have a good chance of beating Villa on Sunday, especially with no Buendia. He's going to be a miss for them, Billy, isn't he?
He is, but I can't see us beating him on Sunday, seeing as we play him on Saturday.
Well, yes. Okay. Never mind. Carry on.
They do lack great. I think they do lack a bit of creativity without Buendia. They've got Diaby. He seems to me to be the major source of creativity. If you can cut the balls to him, very workman-like Villa, I think. I think they're a very workman-like, hard-working side.
Mm-hmm.
I think they lack a tiny bit of creativity without Buendia. He was a real threat to us in America, wasn't he? And him being out can only be good for us, I think.
Well, he was a threat to everyone in pre-season. Buendia was. This is amazing news for us, really. Sad for them. Sad for Buendia, obviously, because Buendia is a great player, and he's never really got into. There's a lot of wingers or offensive players for Villa that never really found their stride. Leon Bailey was very highly rated. We expected him to come from the Bundesliga and absolutely rip it up, and it just never happened. Yeah. I thought this would be the season for Buendia, and it is kind of a shame because you want to see talented footballers do well, but oh well, it means we've got a slightly more advantage tomorrow if I can actually make sentences. It's good for us.
It is good for us, and we, I mean, I don't think tomorrow, Billy, is going to be any kind of walkover for us because it will be a very, very difficult game. Unless Villa go into the shell, like they did last season, but I can't see that happening this season under Emery. I think they're going to be a lot stronger, and I think it will be a very close game of football tomorrow.
Yeah, if you remember last year at St James's Park, they had their caretaker, who I can't remember the name of, for the team China. He managed for one game, was appalling. The goalie got injured, had to go off. They brought the reserve goalie on. He was appalling. Everything went for us that day. As I say, they're a very hard-working side. You have to earn the right, and it's a real bad cliche where they say you have to earn the right to play, but you do against Aston Villa. They've got a really hard-working midfield. McGinn's a total workhorse, non-stop. And so you've got to kind of really outwork them just to put your stamp on the game. I think we've got a bit more quality in the middle of the park, if I'm perfectly honest. I think we've got more, cultured players there. And I think we've got a hard working in there as well with Joe. So, I think we can do it. I think it's a game we can definitely win. It's not going to be easy, as I've said. They do work hard, but I think you need a bit more than hard work to beat us these days.
Yeah, absolutely. Just before we go any further, just like you said, as everybody is aware, the Toon Review is sponsoring Westerhope under 10s this season. For the current season, the strips are currently being made with our logo on the front for their away shirts as well. But something happened today where the kids were training, and Lisa, one of the parents, has sent me some photos today. Two random people turned up for the training today. Lewis and Jamie Miley just turned up. Unpaid, nothing, just came in the normal casual gear and said hello to all the kids, which I think is incredibly good of them. To turn up at a football camp and just sort of go and see the players and go and see. I mean, the kids. How much of that will inspire the kids, Alex? For especially I would say Lewis, the way he's sort of gone through pre-season and now is suddenly becoming a first team regular. For these kids, just for these Miley brothers to turn up, I think it's absolutely fabulous, isn't it?
It's amazing. I mean, it's exactly what we need for the Northeast, really. And this is why I know a lot of people criticize me for this opinion because I'm not from the Northeast, but I do think it's good if all three clubs do okay, because we need a strong youth system in the Northeast. We need to make sure everything's growing. These can be life-changing moments for these young kids if they're training, if they're motivated. Yeah. Having a first teamer, nearly first teamers.
Well, he is. He's going to be around the first team, isn't he?
Having them visit. We've all got those memories from when we were kids. Sometimes you think it's going to be a big memory, and it's not. And then other times there's a memory that sticks. Who knows? One of those kids could be a memory that sticks. They might work hard. They might get an academy opportunity, and they might be a professional footballer one day. It's important. It makes a difference. It's helping the local community. It's great crack for the parents. It's lovely for the coaches as well. There's no losers really. It's just great all round. It's really nice and humble as well. It's brilliant. It's lovely.
Yeah, absolutely. Billy, it can only inspire these kids, can't it, when they see two young players from Newcastle United's academy, and obviously Lewis moving into the first team squad now. it's a massive inspiration for them to push themselves as well, isn't it?
Of course it is. It's every kid's dream to want to play football at a professional level, and even more so when you're a young Geordie lad wanted to get into Newcastle United's first team.
Yeah,
It's been a massive kind of plus for them to see Lewis and Jamie Marley turn up, because Lewis has basically done that. He's played Premier League minutes last season at Chelsea. He's really kind of come on strongly in the pre-season. He's going to get minutes this season. He looks a hell of a player, and certainly one to aspire to for young Geordies. Absolutely.
Definitely. So well done, Jamie and Lewis Miley, going to see the kids today. Absolutely fantastic. And a couple of them players play for the Wester Hope under-10s that we are sponsoring. So hopefully that'll give them on to have a fantastic season and win the league this year. So thank you, Lisa, for sending those through. Dave Bullman says Tyler Adams' deal fell through with Chelsea. He'd be a great buy for 20 million quid.
I think there's a reason why that deal fell through. I think the Caicedo thing has pushed that to they don't want Tyler Adams anymore. They want Caicedo.
Absolutely. Greg said, has anyone seen Shearer's Twitter post about Harry Kane? I was crying. I haven't seen that yet.
It's him photoshopped as a pilot with a private plane going, come on then, Harry, let's go.
I've seen the picture. Yeah, I didn't realize that was Shearer that tweeted it out. Ian Fleming, thank you for your £10 super chat. He says, super chat. Thank you. Glad to see the competitive football back, guys. Absolutely, mate. Absolutely. Finally, before we really move into the match, have we seen the first documentary?
Yes,
have we watched it?
Yes, indeed.
Well, I know Tom, our mod, stayed up till midnight to watch it. I suffered incredible insomnia again, because of Alex making me ill. So I was up at 3:30 this morning, and I thought, well, why not?
It's not confirmed, by the way. He's not confirmed this. He's playing on it without it being confirmed.
So I watched it at 3:30 this morning. I thought it was absolutely brilliant. And it does give you a real insight into what goes on behind the scenes, doesn't it? With the likes of Amanda and Mia Dad all over the place, Darren Eales and Ashworth, and obviously the chairman as well. But I did sort of laugh when the chairman was asked, how much of the day-to-day running do you do? And he just went 0. So it's as we thought. Amanda and Mia Dad are the main drivers on the day-to-day run of the football club.
See, I preferred the other one when they went, "What's the ambition for the club?" And he went,
"Number one,
be number one."
Yeah,
that's it. That's all you need to hear.
It's what we knew. That sort of Amanda especially is the sort of driving force over here running things.
Mm-hmm. However,
she's an Aries, by the way, so she's going to be very, very kind of not going to lie down to anyone. She's an Aries.
Well,
I definitely got that right with the Eddie Howe shout the other day. Mentioning that obviously I think Eddie Howe's quite fortunate that he had a lot of communication with the ownership before Dan Ashworth and a lot of other people got appointed. And he's probably going to be the only manager in the next 20 years for the club that's going to get that relationship and that access. Every part of that. So I'm sorry if there are spoilers, but
I know. Well, come on. I mean, it's 20:07 on the Friday. It came out at midnight. If you haven't seen it now,
but people might have gone to work and they're watching it tonight. So I'll be vague about it. But Eddie was considered when Amanda was talking, Yasir was talking. Well, Ramayan. We went out on first name basis, but when they were discussing transfers and plans, it was always Eddie was always a consideration. They would always name drop Dan Ashworth and they would always name drop Eddie Howe. He was in direct contact about transfers. And apparently when we were struggling to get Anthony Gordon, Eddie Howe literally spoke to the chairman himself just to try and persuade him to push the transfer through. So he went above. I like that. That's quite cool. He went above Dan Ashworth's head and Amanda and Merdad and just went, can we just buy Anthony Gordon, please? Like, that's amazing.
Yeah. Geordie boy, thank you for your £10 super chat. He says pension day, so paying my TTR union dues, worth every penny, guys. Thank you very much. Sujay, thank you very much for your 150. What on earth is THB?
Thailand baht, perhaps? I don't know.
THB currency.
We will find out.
Thai baht. It is Thai.
No, well done, Billy. Thank you very much, Sujay. He says, would like to wish the TTR family, NUFC, and all the fans an awesome, memorable season ahead, culminating in a 2-0 Champions League final victory against Real Madrid. Wow. Brilliant. I will remember that super chat if that comes off, Sujay, 100%. But also, Billy, on that document, it's clear what Eddie Howe means to the ownership as well. You know, we were talking about, if you can remember earlier on in the summer, we were chatting about how long would Eddie have if he had a bad start, and we were all saying, well, he's got plenty fuel in the tank and stuff like that. It is clear how much this ownership love Eddie Howe and will stick by him and do everything they can for him to be successful.
It's not just Eddie Howe, it's everyone that's involved in the organisation.
Yeah,
I think they're all equally loved, and that's what's great about it.
Yeah.
We've always said that one umbrella, or Newcastle United underneath it, and whether it's the tea lady, we didn't see any of that yesterday, but whether it's board members, it's team members.
We've got more episodes.
We've got more episodes. Spoiler alert: there's no tea lady in this one, but we do end up qualifying Champions League. That's another spoiler alert. Everyone seems to be as much loved, but they really do recognise Eddie Howe as a massive plus for the club. And we saw that at the beginning of the show when Steve Bruce thing ended, and they were very keen to get him in the door.
Yeah. I mean,
but I just mention one thing as well. We're on that specific topic. How are they ever going to get rid of him if they ever need to? Because it's going to be, they're all going to cry. Like Merdad, Jamie Rubin seems like quite an emotional, sensitive man, to be fair to him. Amanda, how are they going to do it? Like it's going to be so hard. So hopefully we never have to cross that bridge and he just becomes the best manager that's ever lived, because that relationship it does seem quite unique. I don't know how that would go down if it goes, but it's good. It means we know he's going to get time. If we go through some rough patches, you can see that he's going to get backed.
The thing that got me, and I think Billy, you've just mentioned it there, is the fact that this real family atmosphere they've got now. You know, even in the boardroom, you know, they're all helping each other. And I know, look, it comes across on TV. You know, like there's no fallings out or things like that. There will be some heated discussions go on in boardrooms. We know that. But they're all on the same wavelength, Billy, and that's the most important thing. They all want the same thing at the end of the day.
100%. And that thing is to be the best club in the world, best football inside club in the world. And these people don't take second lightly. We saw that, as Alex has already alluded to yesterday. We may say we want to be number one. I think that's what it'll end up as, and that's what's going to end.
Yeah,
it's going to end up.
Yeah. Tom says, to quote Sam Fender, if Saturday don't come soon, I'm going to lose my mind. Nick says, who starts alongside Bruno? It has to be Tonali, as Longstaff has been very poor in pre-season.
We'll see.
I'm not sure about the fitness. I'm not sure about being poor. I think, yes, he hasn't hit the heights, but I think he hasn't played a lot, remember?
Poor.
Well, yeah, but he didn't play at all in America, so he hasn't had that much of pre-season.
Yeah, he was poor at Gateshead.
He was.
All we can do
Alex,
is assess the minutes. Well, yeah, but all we can do is assess the minutes that we've seen. And all the minutes I've seen, he's not been very good. He's done a couple of nice 40-yard switches. You know, he's worked fairly hard, but there's been a lot of poor positioning, miscontrols, similarly to Bruno, to be fair.
Scott says Dan Burn's going to get skinned by Diaby.
I think one thing...
Yeah, but one thing that came across, Billy, in Eddie Howe's conference this morning, the way he was talking about Livramento doesn't give me the impression that he is going to start tomorrow at left back. You know I said I was... that was my feeling. Shut up. That was my feeling that he might start at left back, but judging by what he said, he's going to bleed him into the team slowly again. He still might, but you know he might throw a curveball.
He could, but you know the kind of way Eddie Howe's worked with other signings is going to ease him in gently. It's a corner phrase. Well,
we will see. We will see. But look, is it Dan Burn or Matt Targett that gets the shout? That is another question, because they've both played quite a lot in pre-season. If it is Dan Burn, does that pace of Diaby worry you, Alex? I mean, I know we spoke about it earlier on in the week, saying, well, he wasn't really done for pace last season, but this is a new season. He's a bit older. You know, he doesn't look very mobile at the weekend. That's for certain. So, you know, who would it be?
Dan Burn.
Okay.
So, sorry to make that
amazing,
boring,
isn't it, Billy?
but it's going to be Dan Burn.
All the Stephen Merchant abuse that Alex gave Dan Burn last season, and then he's picking him to start again. I mean, it's unbelievable.
Dan Burn's had a few bad days at the office. I'm sure he doesn't want to be extras in the squad.
No. Yeah, but Matt Targett's not really done... he's not really done a lot to show us that he should be starting ahead of.
Sorry,
Blackburn.
Billy, was that a joke you just cracked there?
It was.
Maybe perhaps two.
Oh.
Well, don't make Alex laugh because he'll start coughing for 3 hours, and he'll let us know.
It's got to be Dan Burn though. Like unless he throws the ultimate curveball and puts Alex Murphy in the side, I don't see. I think it's Burn or Livramento, which concerns me because I feel like at what point do we have to sell one of the fullbacks that we're already going to need to move on one on the right side because we don't need Kraft and Manquillo. Arguably, we don't need either.
Well, apparently
however,
Manquillo's injured. I mean, that's why he wasn't involved last weekend. But Eddie never spoke about him today. But again, some of the questions that he gets asked are mind-boggling. I'm thinking there's so much more I want to know about this team and squad. Push Eddie a little bit. You know what I mean?
Perhaps they already know that he's not going to give anything away. It's rinse and repeat, isn't it? What's the point? You might as well ask him what his favourite cheese is.
Very true. Very true. Ben, good evening to you. I hope you're well, buddy. Of course, Ben was one of the winners the other night with the Newcastle shirt. Fubar says, listen, I'm originally from the Scottish borders and I'm Scottish, but Newcastle was geographically the closest Premier League team. I worked in Newcastle. I bleed black and white. Alex, I'm with you. Yeah,
I mean, this is something that people who are from the Northeast don't seem to understand. It's very different.
Excuse me.
Oh no, honestly, you'll understand when I've explained it. You'll understand. And I alluded to this the other day. If you're in a Newcastle shirt, in a group of friends or you're playing football, and everyone else is in Manchester United, Man City, Liverpool, Arsenal shirts, and you are the only person there in black and white. That's been me my entire life.
Yeah.
So I've always had to say, no, my club's the best. I don't care if we're doing bad this season or we happen to have dropped out into the Championship this year. Whereas obviously people who are in the Northeast, you guys are all together and unified anyway. You can chat about the club, whether it's positive or negative. Whereas I've been on that side, and I'm sure there are a lot of people in the chat that can relate to that. Whereas when you're not from the region, I'm sure Billy can probably relate to this.
Yeah.
You're the guy in the pub or the kid on the pitch, and you're the only one there in black and white. And you've got to defend the club and yourself. And that's probably why I do what I do now, because I've had to learn so much to try and defend us against everybody saying, this player's crap, because they never watch it. They just watch Match of the Day and make assumptions about players, and they don't really know what they're talking about.
Yeah,
I've had fans of Manchester United, Liverpool, Everton gang up the year we should have won the league, especially in the hope that we were going to drop points and lose our lead, which we did eventually, and get great pleasure out of it. Liverpool fans united with Manchester United fans.
Yeah. I mean, you guys have started to see it on Twitter, like when people were slowly understanding that Joe Linton was good. You can see sort of bits of this on Twitter, whereas we live it every day down south. Like people just don't seem to understand.
It's never been anything that's bothered me. If you're a Newcastle fan, you're a Newcastle fan. I don't really care where you come from. If you support the same club as me, absolutely all for it, and nobody can question you or Billy's passion for Newcastle United. You just have to watch the commentaries to see the passion. So it's mental. It really is. By the way, Chippers has just hung himself, guys, because Sophia says, I watched it. Is Jamie Rubin single, asking for a friend? I'm sure you're asking for a friend, Sophia, but you have Chippers is just gone. So
incidentally, back to the previous conversation, I was called a glory hunter 30 years ago.
Wow.
Coventry City had won trophies in between. We'd last won one. Ridiculous. Still get called it today. Ridiculous.
That's crazy. Carl says he ordered his third shirt on the 2nd of August, turned up today.
It's going to come when you're on holiday. You know that, don't you?
Of course it is. Of course it is. By the way, it's my last night tonight, guys. You won't see me for 10 whole days. A lot of people will be happy about that, but Billy and Alex will be running the channel for the next, from tomorrow until a week on Tuesday when I'll be back. So give them your support, guys. I'm sure you will. Of course you will. But I will be scheduling the shows very soon. So you'll see the week ahead so you can plan your calendar around the shows as well. Most of them will be 7 o'clock starts anyway. You know that. slowly implementing them into the system. That would be talking about Livermento. Abs says Longstaff hasn't been that bad. As Eddie said, you do make dramatic observations from pre-season games.
So he's been bad, but not that bad. Okay, I agree with you, Abs. Poor choice of words there.
Okay.
He's not been good. Like,
he's behind in the minutes on pitch. You know, he played against Gates, and he was. Let's be honest, he was pretty poor that game. And when he played in the game over the last weekend, he lacked minutes.
It's lacking minutes. It's minutes that I think.
I don't think he'll play tomorrow. I don't think he'll start tomorrow, I should say.
Okay.
It's got to be Tonali, surely. I know Tonali also doesn't.
Don't give anything away yet. We'll come on to the teams in a minute. Have you got the Villa one up, Alex, by any chance?
I've got the predicted Villa lineup, so I've not done a graphic
that one
for
first.
Them. They don't deserve one.
You haven't got the graphics for them.
Well, kind of. Yeah, I'll bring it up.
Well, if you do that first, and then I'll put that on the screen in a second. Larry says, I just hope Dan Burn contributes more in the set pieces for being so bloody tall. David says, Dan Burn was part of the best defensive in the Premier League. Who gave him the runaround last year? Nobody gave him the runaround, actually, so that's what we were saying. Alvin, thank you very much for your $5 super chat. Really appreciate that, buddy. He says, good evening, fellas. Hope all is well. Alex, feel better, bro. I'm fired up for tomorrow. You're the hardest working channel on YouTube. Thank you very much. Much appreciated, my friend. Right.
Another interesting point before we go that I talked about lack of creativity. Jacob Ramsey being out, a massive loss from as well.
Who?
Well, we'll talk about that.
Jacob Ramsey.
Yes, absolutely.
He destroyed us at Villa Park, didn't he?
Right, there you go. So that is Alex's predicted team.
No, this is FotMob's predicted team.
That's FotMob. I was going to say it, bloody Lascelles.
You told me not to put mine up yet. So this is FotMob's predicted team. Which
so look at the Villa team. Don't look at the Newcastle one because that's nothing to do with us. So we'll come on to our predictions.
I mean, I don't agree with what they've picked for us anyway. So, sorry, the Villa team pretty straightforward. It's going to be a funny 4-4-2. Diaby off Watkins. Buendia's injured now. ACL. He's done and dusted for a long time. Which we were talking about this before we went live. A little bit of a shame because he's a talented player. He's been brilliant in preseason. However, it is good for us because Villa are going to be a rival for those sorts of 4th to 9th positions. Midfield, Kamara obviously signed on a free transfer. Massive talent who didn't really play much last year, or not as much as he should have done. We've got Douglas Lewis, McGinn. We know John McGinn is a freak and is probably slightly underrated, I would say. Leon Bailey, who's left midfield. He's going to sort of make that 4-4-2, although it can be a flexible 4-3-3 depending on what shape they're in. And obviously they like to do their funny formation where they do drop back into a back six because it's just Emery's thing. It's his funny tactic. It works quite well. We've just got to make sure we don't get played through quite as severely as we did last time. Mings just wandering into midfield. Obviously, they've not got Buendia to punish us quite as badly as last time, but Watkins is still there. We've got to be careful. Digne and Cash, very talented fullbacks. Hopefully, whoever starts for us can keep them pinned back because we've got decent wingers. Much of a muchness in centre halves. Konsa and Mings, very, very established centre halves. Mings has been playing really well recently, and back in the last season as well. Now, obviously, they've signed Pau Torres. A lot of question marks about that signing, about how he doesn't have the aerial presence that Mings has got, and he's missing certain qualities that Mings has got, and it just doesn't. Few confused people online about that signing. So we'll see. I would imagine Mings starts. I don't see how Pau Torres gets in the starting lineup, which is funny because they bought him. Oh well, it is what it is. And obviously Martinez, the keeper, we know is a World Cup winning keeper. He is annoying. He plays to the crowd.
Very annoying.
He's going to be irritating. He's going to be a wind-up. He's like the Argentinian Pickford, if there is such a thing.
Oh, dear. David says, who will control Alex in your absence, Paul? And meat emojis. Well, I'm sure Billy will be all right. It's Alex will lose his temper at some time.
I mean, I agree with Billy more than yourself, so it should be fine.
There was absolutely no need for that. So you can take your COVID-riven ass and shove it up your... No, because you can't put your ass up your ass, but you probably could. Anyway, Ashley, he says, I've never lived up north, but definitely wasn't a Glory fan watching us against Bristol Rovers at the Bath City ground years ago. God, yes, I remember that.
I feel your pain, mate. I feel your pain.
Yeah. Lee says, ordered the third kit for the band the day it was released. I'm still waiting. Join the club, Lee. And I haven't had a reply to my email either to Castor. They haven't got back to me, probably because they're fucking frightened too. But just the way it goes. Ian says 125 quid for Champions League shirt in the club shop, 85 in Sports Direct. The club gets my spawn every time. Sophia says, I think Paul should buy a zoo. Imagine the endless entertainment. A zoo? I don't think that's the job. Yeah, shut up, Billy. I don't think that is my, shall we say, wouldn't be good career advice for me to do anything like that with I've got 2 dogs and fish tanks and things like that. That's enough. Alex, if you are one of the boys, you will always be one of the boys to me. There you go. Christian says, looking at the training practice for Aston Villa and thinking we have some real talent. We do. The thing is, Billy, it's going to be very exciting, isn't it, to see who starts, but also who comes on in the second half. Obviously, substitutions to see how well they do as well, because some big players are going to be sitting on the bench tomorrow.
But that's brilliant, isn't it? If things aren't going right, we can have a plan B and bring fresh players on with similar qualities to the ones that are on the pitch. Yeah. Something we didn't have last season, and last season we finished 4th in the table. So it's all plus for us. We've got so much depth in the squad now, not just from signings, from some of the youth putting their hands up and coming through also. Miley, Murphy for 2. So, yeah, it's all plus. It's all plus. There's so much to look forward to. And if things ain't going right, change things around a bit and things might go right. I think it's great. I really do.
Vortex says, I tell you what, it's flipping hard choosing between Gordon, Barnes and Bruno G in the Fantasy Premier League. Yes. The fact that you're only allowed 3. Right, Alex, let's have a look at your predicted Newcastle United lineup. Of course, me and Billy will do ours shortly as well, but let's just take a look at what Alex thinks will be the Newcastle lineup tomorrow. There you go.
So quite predictable, to be fair. I've not pushed the boat out too much. I think this is
I'm not having it. That's the first time I've seen it, and I know why now. You put it on the screen before we started and asked me to take it down straight away so I couldn't see it, because you just knew I was going to have a pop at this. And I do not agree with that. And the fact that you've got Fabian Schär at number 3, you should be shot.
That's true. That is very true. However, I'm not. This isn't. It's my predicted lineup. It's what I think Eddie Howe's going to choose based on previous squad selections, team selections, who he trusts, how they finished last season. I think Wilson and Isak both play. I think they do. I think they start. Wilson's had a decent preseason. He looked really good in the final game. Isak's looked really, really sharp. Miggy's looked really sharp in preseason. I understand that a lot of the newbies have done really well and the youngsters. However, these 3 up front were trusted last year, and I think that's why they'll just get the nod just automatically.
But Alex, that was last year. You can't. Yep. What happens if he plays Wilson and Isak? No need to play the 2 of them, because if one of them gets injured, we haven't got a replacement striker. Yes, we've got Gordon who can mix it up a little bit, but why would he risk playing his 2 strikers?
Why did he do it last year when he'd got people available?
But we didn't have the same availability that we have now.
We had Gordon. We wouldn't start him.
Nobody knew Gordon was a striker until he played for England, Alex. So
no. But we could have. We kept putting Isak on the wing and Wilson up front. We could have just used Gordon out wide. We didn't. Yeah, he could have done this last year.
Since then, Gordon's had a fantastic European Championships. Confidence has come on leaps and bounds.
Gordon wasn't fit either. Remember, let's be honest. He wasn't fully fit.
I just think this is what he'll pick. I'm not saying I would pick this.
No, I understand that. I'm just playing devil's advocate and saying why would he do that? Just for the conversation purposes. I just people very surprised.
I look. I know. My preferred front 3. Look, I love Callum Wilson, but if you were to ask me to write 10 team sheets, 9 of them would not have Wilson starting out of our squad.
Yeah,
but. It's just what I think Eddie Howe's going to go with. I do think Wilson's had a decent preseason as well. In that final game, he was beating the offside trap. He looked energetic. He set people up. He was looking quite useful, more so than he was at the back end of last season. Actually, he looked a tiny bit quicker, a tiny bit fitter. He looks all right. He's had a good rest, and I think he'll play. He's trusted, and I think Isak will start left because you can't drop Isak because he's probably one of our best players. And then they can rotate. They can bring on Barnes, Gordon, Elliot Anderson. There's a lot of versatility there. So just to make you confused, obviously there's question marks over Cher's fitness, whether Lascelles or somebody else, or maybe Alex Murphy. If I scroll to the right, there's our potential depth. So that's who I've left off. I've also not given Alex Murphy a squad number here, which I should have done, arguably. So that plus Alex Murphy. You could argue maybe I should have picked Paul Dummett as well for this little list. But so, I mean, if people feel free to choose some of them from that list, I've excluded them. I just think that starting 11 is what Eddie Howe's going to pick. I don't know if you drag anybody else from this list and start them.
I would be.
Yeah, so would I. I just.
Do you think Eddie Howe's going to do something different?
Well, no, but if this was if this was my ideal team, if this was me picking it, and not what I think Eddie will go for, because to be honest, nobody knows what the hell Eddie's going to go for, do they? Because he swings curveballs every single time he picks his team. I remember when Rafa was in charge, and we used to all laugh about saying it's pointless because Rafa will change the team every week, and we have no clue what he's going to do. I mean, this is exactly the same. I have no clue what Eddie Howe is going to do. If it was me, I'd start Livramento left back. I would start Isak in the middle, and I'd start Harvey Barnes on the left. That is just me. I just think I worry about Dan Burn going against Diaby because Diaby has looked amazing in pre-season, by the way. Very quick, very agile, and I think he will get the beating of Dan Burn if we are not careful tomorrow, which means Botman then gets hauled out of place to cover for Burn, and it could start a few little problems and could let a lot of space in for Ollie Watkins. That is what worries me on the left-hand side.
Unless we have a funny little experiment.
Uh-oh.
We've got Joe Linton there as well. Joe Linton will cover the left back, and I don't see Diaby.
Yeah, but that also takes away from our attack, if we try and break away, because Joe Linton's then getting pulled into defence as well. I think if Livramento's there, we've got pace to go up the left. But
for that reason, that's why I wouldn't pick Isak there. I'd pick Gordon there.
Well, I'd have Gordon or Barnes, to be honest. Either one of the two. Both have done exceptionally well. I just think Barnes looks...
I'll tell you what, as well, I think these two are being very hard done by, considering how well their pre-seasons went.
When has Jacob Murphy been number 16, Alex? What have you been doing?
I literally just pulled the squad numbers and wrote their name in. I haven't given them all their numbers.
Okay, I'll let you off.
But, Murphy and Anderson's pre-season.
Well, yeah, you've got... But this is the great thing we've been talking about, though, isn't it? It's the bench and the ability for Eddie Howe to make changes and replace quality with quality, which is what we've been banging on about for so long and what we've been wanting it. And I think now you look at the names who could potentially be on the bench and you think, wow, we've got some game changers there who can come on and make a difference.
Well, last season he could only pick 3 really that he trusted. Now he's got a quandary about which 5 does he pick. Because all those 5, you could give a start. No danger.
Well, I mean, if you want my team, I know we're supposed to do this later, but that's fine. It's going to be quite simple. I think this is probably most people's teams. It was quite a straight swap. I think it'd just be that. That'd be my team. And if I feel like if we go behind and we're struggling, I'd bring Livramento on for Burn to be a bit more offensive. So that is what I would go with. Right.
What about the set pieces, guys? Because I mean, look, Matt Ritchie took them on Sunday, and I thought Matt Ritchie's deliveries were superb on Sunday against Villarreal. Kieran Trippier still hasn't convinced me during pre-season. That is. I know we scored from a corner the other day, fine, but the majority still haven't been great, and I haven't seen Tonali take anywhere near as much as he should be, because we saw what he can do in the European Championships when every single thing he took, he made a defender work to clear the ball.
Yeah, I'm amazed we haven't really have a fair go with him as set pieces. We saw his quality in the European U21s. I'm amazed. We'll see it during the season, I'm sure. I'd have him in the 6th role personally, and I'd have Guimaraes in the 8th role. Yeah,
you mentioned that earlier. I mean, Alex, we noticed that when Tonali last Saturday was playing in the 6. And he does seem to look a better player when he's in that 6, and he's like a quarterback role, and I think that suits him.
Yeah, I mean, all the research we did and all of the games I've watched, especially for AC Milan, he looked great as an 8. Obviously, he was a 6 for Brescia when he was a lot younger. But watching Italy under 21s and then watching us in pre-season, he'll play 3/4 of his minutes further up, and then he'll be given a few minutes deeper as a 6, and he looks great. It's just really weird. He does look really good in the 6.
I guess
we did have a look at the data, and he's not as good in the 6, but he passes the eye test in the 6.
Yeah, he does.
I think a tricky one.
The thing is, Billy, I'll ask you this: is we spoke about it again in earlier shows. The beauty that we have here is if Bruno does, we do break or we do push out, and Bruno suddenly goes forward, Tonali then can just step back. And a similar thing with Bruno. If Tonali goes forward, then Bruno just stays back. They don't all have to rush forward. Even Joe Linton would agree. So the three of them can really push forward when they can or defend when they need to.
Yeah, it's flexibility within the 11, isn't it? It's fantastic. We've even got it up front if we need it. He's, as was pointed out earlier, can go to the left and has done in pre-season for a little while to get him going. We've got flexibility within the side. I think it's great. Everything that's about us this summer, what we've done from a transfer point of view, what we've done from promoting youth, has made us more flexible. It's all positive. I don't see a negative there. I really don't. I think we still need a couple of signings or maybe one signing. But aside from that, if we went into the season, which we are doing, if we went into after the transfer window with what we've got now, you can't complain really.
No, I mean, look, whatever the team puts out, it's going to be exciting, isn't it? We've got that squad depth now. Yes, hopefully get one more through the door, as Eddie said.
Well, let's not forget all of this has got no Willock.
Exactly,
so
we've still got Willock to come back out
whenever he's back.
I mentioned that in the show earlier on today that we still have Willock to come back. He's obviously not going to come back till after the September international break. That's a massive blow, but it gives us the flexibility now to make sure he's 100% fit before we bring him back. And what an addition to come back into the squad. The way Willock has been playing is absolutely tremendous. And how the hell does he pick a midfield? It's just there's so much talent there now, but the talent is there he can swap and change for every competition. If he wants to change it for the Carabao, the FA Cup, he's still going to have a very strong side out on the pitch.
This is it. And with the amount of games we've got, we need to have a trust of reserves coming in to do the job that the first lot can do. I'll say first lot. It's not first lot. It's a squad now. It's a real squad.
Oh, no.
You can pick
God,
11.
Andy Madley's refereeing.
Oh, Christ.
Yeah, I just somebody put it in the chat. I just had to have a check. That's a shame.
Oh, you know what it is. Just when you think you're excited,
Can't go wrong.
At the end of the day, you can't. Any referee that you put there, you're going to say, "Oh no," aren't you? Let's be honest.
Well, yeah. I mean, there is a plus point that Mike Dean is nowhere near anything this season. Not even VAR.
Did anybody see the funny Paddy Power video of him?
Yes.
Oh dear Lord! At least he knows he's an idiot.
Well, of course he does. I mean, he will know that. Ian says he's trying to subscribe but I keep getting an error on my mobile. Try on a desktop version or something like that, or a laptop if you can. Ian, I don't know why it's doing that.
Or go to Instagram and get the desktop version of the Toon review for Instagram.
Exactly. Read my mind, Billy.
Right. Which one's Madley? Is that the one that got in trouble for mocking a Down syndrome person? Is it that one?
That was his brother, wasn't it?
That was his brother.
Yeah. That was the one that sent off Colaccini for not handballing the ball in the area of the stadium in Short.
How can we forget that there? Paul Tully says Anderson will be hard done by if he's on the bench. He did so well recently.
You can only pick 11, Paul.
Exactly. You can only pick 11. And this is, this is what Eddie Howe will have wanted. You want that headache every single week as to who he starts in the first 11. But the question then comes around, and it's a question that anybody has with a big squad, guys, is, how does he keep everybody happy? But I guess because of the competitions that we're in this season, there is plenty of games available for everybody.
100%. Yeah, keep everyone happy. That's the job, isn't it? And that's why it's important to qualify for European football year in, year out now, because that's what we've got to keep everyone happy.
Yeah, we need to get Conference League minimum this season just for that depth.
Do you think Eddie will have had a conversation with all of the squad saying, look, there will be plenty of opportunities, for everybody to get games this season? But, again, it's vital that everybody keeps the motivation high. The camaraderie in the dressing room stays there, because you know what it's like. Somebody takes a huff that they're not playing, it starts to escalate, and they don't want that kind of thing happening. But then again, I think the group of players that we have in that squad all seem to have very different personalities, which enables them to all just group together. There doesn't seem like there's any animosity in that dressing room. They all get on, which is vital.
The first thing that he would have said when all the squad got together would have been exactly what you just said there. The very first thing, and it'll be reiterated week in, week out, week in, week out. I've just seen Manchester City's side for tonight. John Stones doesn't even get in the squad. He's not even on the bench. It's keeping people happy by playing them, not week in, week out, but for certain games, horses for courses, keeping them all happy. It's something that Pep's done. I'm sure Eddie Howe will be able to do it too. Yeah,
I mean, Alex, again, you've got the problem of Isak and Wilson. If Isak's going to get, if he doesn't play Isak on the left and Isak does go through the middle the majority of the time, do you think Callum's patience will run out eventually, or do you think it'll spur him on? So when he does make, a substitute appearance or starts a game, it's going to fire him on.
No, I think it's fine for Wilson. I think he knows there's loads of competition now. Yeah. He's not the big boy up front, but Callum Wilson is an experienced, very, very competent centre forward, great finishing. One of the most composed centre forwards in the league. To be fair, his clinicalness is very well known. Yeah. So he'll cherish it. He'll be frustrated. He'll be frustrated with himself when he has off games, because he will. Everybody has off games. When he gets dropped out the side, he'll be frustrated. He wants to play more. He knows he's got to be rotated because he's a little bit fragile as well, and he hates that. He wants to play more games. He wants to be the guy. He wears the 9 for a reason. I think it's healthy. It's very healthy. But let's not forget with Isak as well that, I mean, for everything we say, he has looked better every single time he's gone out wide for us, especially and in pre-season. It's the same can be said. As soon as he sees a bit more of the ball, he looks better. Loves to dribble.
Callum Wilson is not that player, is he? Callum Wilson couldn't go onto the left and do what Isak does.
Long term, fair enough, but I think Isak is better when he sees more of the ball. I know it sounds like a proper, young lad going into his first football team. I'll prefer to play in a position where I see more of the ball. Yeah, it's a proper cliche thing to say, but that is literally Isak. Give him more of the ball and he will do more for the team. Like, he's just so good on it.
Well, Toon Gamer makes a good point, because I've seen this as well, that Spurs may well look to Wilson to replace Harry Kane. I don't know whether you guys have seen that.
Yeah, it's £50 million. Happy days. We know Spurs have got a lot of money.
Shorty, show me the money.
In fact, it's Daniel Levy, £70 million.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Sophia says, Billy's got knowledge. He would do well on University Challenge.
Oh, no.
I'd be back. I'd be okay on University Challenged. Oh, dear God. Paul Tully says, Tino may start the first few games from the bench. Julie says, we won't do business with Levy. Toon Leroy says, Murphy was good at right back versus Villarreal, but that was a minor emergency because Trips played the day before. Kraft's still not ready, and Manquillo was either injured or in Spain looking for a new club. Seattle Geordie says, do you think Eddie will sub earlier instead of 75-80? Oh, yeah. That was a frustration last season.
Yeah, it depends on the game, doesn't it?
It does, but he doesn't have to keep... I think he doesn't have to keep the players on as long because of who he's got on the bench this season, if that makes sense.
He actually started pulling the trigger a bit earlier last season, later on.
But he's actually got the players this time to replace... he doesn't have to worry about quality.
Exactly.
I think that might be, and given the amount of games we'll be playing, it gives him a chance to just keep rotating, keep players fresh and things like that. So, I would hope that you'll probably start making them a bit earlier, especially if things aren't going right. But that's not going to happen for a long time. Ab says Eddie might Eddie might like how Isak and Gordon interchange positions, but my feeling is he goes with Wilson and Isak. So Abs is agreeing with you there, Alex.
I don't think it's that he likes that I think he's made them interchange positions. I think that's an orchestrated thing that's been trained, that's been worked. So it didn't work particularly well. Well, actually, okay, that's wrong. It worked very well. Gordon just couldn't score. Gordon should have had a hat trick on that. What was it? Saturday. He had 2 or 3 shots, like clear chances on goal. Just didn't have his shooting boots on. He's got that pace. He's got so much raw pace, and the attributes are all there. He just needs to start. I hope it's not a case of like Willock was last season, where Willock could have got double figures last season if he wasn't, faffing about. He was so good in certain games with his quality, but he just massively underperformed. I think we could see that with Gordon this year. I think he might look incredible and just not put it in the net. It will come eventually though. But
I think if he scores, as soon as he scores, though, I think he'll go on a run. I think the confidence in him will massively increase. I think it could be a big player this year, Anthony Gordon.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing how he does this season.
We've not spoken about the opposite wing, have we?
Miggy's a shoo-in for me. I don't think there's a problem with Miggy. I actually think Miggy's on a high at the minute, and when Miggy's on a high, we play him because he can.
I hope Digne plays for Villa because of the left back that played in the game at Villa Park. Marino had him on toast. I was running past him at ease.
Yeah,
it was Murphy, wasn't it?
I think he's injured though, isn't he?
Hopefully, and that's not being nasty.
Yeah.
Alex Moreno, is that
it is that time of the show where it is prediction time. Now, I did say we were going to predict the other Premier League results as well. We'll start that little league off when I come back off holiday. So tonight it'll just be predicting Newcastle. So, Billy, your starting lineup first of all? Yeah,
Pope in goal. The regular back four from last season. Trippier, Share if fit. Think he's going to be Botman and Byrne. In front of them, Tonali, Bruno, Joe Linton, Miggy right, Isak through the middle, and Anthony Gordon out left.
Okay. Alex, we know what your team is, what you think Eddie will do, and your own thoughts. So we'll see if that comes to fruition. My team would be Pope in goal, Trippier, Share, Botman, and I'm going with Livramento. I'm going to stick by it. Midfield, I think tomorrow he will play Bruno, Joe Linton, and I think he starts Sean Longstaff instead of Tonali. That's not what I want to see, though, but I think he will, given how highly he rates Sean Longstaff. And a front three, Miggy, Isak, Barnes. But you know what? We can predict either. It doesn't matter what team we predict. Like I said before, it's going to be exciting whatever 11 goes on the pitch to start the game tomorrow because we're on an absolute high at the minute. Right. And now predicting the score with the goal scorers. And we'll start with you, Mr. Stato.
The preseason game was 3-3. Not quite got the same personnel. We're going to start a stronger squad, a stronger team. You're not going to like mine.
Alex is going for a draw, ain't he?
He is.
I'm going for a 2-2.
Yeah, I knew it. I
think there'll be.
Who's going to get the goals for the Toon, Alex?
Again. I think Isak will get one, and starters we mean to go on. Sven Botman.
Yay! Phil, thank you very much for your £5 super chat. We don't have any comment there, but thank you very much for your donation. Really appreciate that, buddy. Right, Bill?
Yeah, I just think their lack of creativity is going to kind of stop them from creating as many problems as they would have done with Buendia and or Jacob Ramsey in the side. So I think we win 3-1. I think goals from Isak, Anthony Gordon, and one from Joe Linton.
Interesting. I've gone 3-1 as well, Billy. Interestingly enough, I've gone for Isak and Harvey Barnes to get a double. So 3-1 for me. Lots of various scores coming in the chat, like from 4-0, 2-1, 3-0. I don't think anybody's predicted us to lose, which is a good thing.
Let's just remember that the last 2 times we played Villa, they've put 7 goals past us combined.
Yeah.
And Cher might not be able to play.
Shea will be on the pitch, Alex.
I'm
You know
not saying
for a
we'll
fact-
lose. I
you
do
know
think
for
we'll
a fact
concede
Fabian
a couple
Shea
of
will
goals.
be on that pitch tomorrow.
Yeah, probably.
No doubt. Anyway, there you go, guys. That is the prediction done and dusted. Thank you very much for all the super chats and new memberships, and obviously your contribution to the show tonight as well. Thank you very much to the mods, and of course to Alex and Billy. We will be back. Well, Alex and Billy will be tomorrow at 5 p.m. Don't miss it. It is the watch along, half an hour build up with the team news and a bit chat about the match, and then the full 90-minute commentary, play-by-play commentary from both Billy and Alex tomorrow. So do not miss that if you can't get to the game. Please respect it. No spoilers, things like that. It will be subscriber only in the comments tomorrow. So if you do want to comment to the guys and interact with them, you will need to become a subscriber. It isn't a members thing. It's just you need to subscribe in order to put any comments in the chat. It's just to stop the spoilers, guys, because hopefully the subscribers will be a bit more well-behaved, shall we say. But there you go. Give Alex and Billy your support over the next 10 days, guys, because they'll be running the show. And, well, they'll do a cracking job, won't they? We know they will. So thank you very much. I will see you in 10 days. These two will see you tomorrow. Keep an eye on the channel. Turn your notifications on, guys. Give it a like. Give it a subscribe if you're new. And we'll see you very soon. In the meantime, good night.
How are the lads and lasses?
Come back and check on to breathe.